Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I'm here with LightCount. He's just released his first single of the year called Demons, and I'm incredibly excited to talk to him about it. Jeremy, thank you so much for coming on today. How are you doing?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Doing great, hanging in there, just chilling on the East Coast, but doing all right.
Yeah, you
So,
mentioned that you were in North Carolina. I hope things are going all right over there at the moment. Things seem to be a
do
little out of hand.
yeah, as long as I have to drive anywhere, no one
That's
has gas, but
true.
otherwise, doing all right.
Well, I obviously want to talk about the music today. Right off the bat, I got to tell you, I'm loving the single. I'd love to know about all the genre influences that kind of went on here. I feel that it's very obviously an electronic forward song for the most
Mm.
part, but there's a lot of like emo alternative rock influence as well that sort of round everything out. I'd love to hear you talk about it though.
Yeah, really, a lot of my influence when I started into music in general, like my background growing up in North Carolina was pretty much like almost straight gospel music. Like my mother made me
Sure.
to do that and just kind of learn that style. And um, so that's, my piano teacher was a straight gospel piano teacher. So of course I didn't do any of my normal piano lessons. I was in a, growing up, I was into, um, a little behind the phase, but into Bon Jovi and a lot of
Yeah.
the 80s rock. I love those 80s ballads and, back to the hair bands and the glam rock. And I still listen to a lot of that, today, and a lot of bands that kind of throw back to that, like Black Veil Brides. But my personal music, I do listen to more rock or like
Hmm.
more emotional, melodic, rock. So it's kind of where a lot of my influences come from. Being mainly a pianist, and I do play guitar as well, but
Hmm.
piano is my first instrument, one I'm best at. So a lot of the rock that I tend to do comes out much more mellow, more melancholy. So yeah, a little more of the emo vibe to it, just from my piano background. And I do like future bass as far as
Okay.
electronic, EDM goes. I like that style. So it's more just trying to uh, more incorporate a lot more of the rock elements into the EDM. That's what else are doing that, but just trying to build that more into not really its own genre, but almost like a rocktronic or like a
Totally.
future rock instead of future bass. But
Yeah, you've
it's kind of
really
where things.
blended the lines kind of nicely because like for fans of both genres, they're going to get a little bit of what they want, which is great. Kind of hit both ends of the spectrum there. Um, I
Yeah,
do
yeah.
I do want to talk about the production though, because the production on the song is unreal. Everything is crisp and clean, but sort of rugged when it needs to be during parts of
Mhm.
it. So what's all going on here? Do you take care of the production yourself? Do you have any outside help making your music?
Yeah, no, that was everything on the record was me, did the all the instruments, all the vocals.
Nice.
Obviously, with it being electronic, there's a lot of synths involved in it, but
Yeah.
recorded the guitars here in my studio
Hmm.
and did the all the vocals are mine, the background vocals, even the really high pitched vocals. I did those obviously, with a lot of help from the software,
Hey,
to
nothing
that.
wrong with that. You're not
To pitch.
alone.
But yeah, it was just a lot of I mean, it took a while. I mean, between like my last single Rewind and this one was 1 month shy of 3 years between the two, and just it took a lot of time off just to kind of
Hmm.
for my own mental health and working on some other projects, working
Sure.
on do a lot of composing and did a lot of commercial work and things where I kind of got back into my own like personal artist thing. So I had plenty of time to work on this one. It took a while and um, maybe 70 something vocal tracks is what I used on that one, at least
Wow.
takes. It took a long time to get a lot of 2 a.m. Vocal takes, kind of getting that to find where I wanted it. But
That's
yeah,
crazy.
mixing and mastering and did all that on my own. So,
Sure.
which is pretty common. A lot of electronic artists do that. It's not uncommon in their genre, but
Hmm.
it's nice to have my own workspace. It makes things
That's really
a
nice.
lot easier. Things on my timetable and you
Totally.
know,
It's not like you have to rush into a studio and figure things out last minute or anything like that.
yeah, exactly. I try to use put a lot of time, effort, and money in my own studio. So I try to
Yeah,
outsource as little as possible. Sometimes
totally.
you kind of need to.
No, it's good to invest in it now because then you have it for the long run and you can screw around and make
Exactly.
what you
Yeah.
want. And if you don't like it, then you can just scrap it, start
Go.
fresh. Um, so instrumentally, you mentioned that you're mainly a pianist, and I wanted to know if any like outside instruments that you play manually made the cut on this, or is it 100% made through software or like whatever
Sure.
program that you
Yeah.
use?
This one was the guitars are actual guitars. Like I
Oh,
recorded those.
awesome. Okay.
Yeah, I think outside of that, and obviously the vocals. I think everything here was either software or hardware synths.
Got it.
I've got quite a big collection of those, but yeah, everything was either software or synthesizer, except for the guitars for this one.
Nice. Okay, so here's the obvious question because it sort of appears that this was your first release since Rewind in 2018.
Mhm.
So the question here is there more on the way? There's been some downtime. I hope that you've been finalizing some stuff for the future.
Yeah, fortunately, my catalog definitely have a backlog of that.
Okay.
So it's not going to be 3 years between for the next release. So hopefully, the one that I'm working on now is mostly, or my next release thing is mostly done. And I'm bringing, hopefully, getting my niece in the studio actually to do the vocals on the
Oh,
next one. So
sweet.
I'm working on, getting some studio time up with her.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've got that I'm working on now, probably 10 to 12 songs that hopefully
Wow.
get all those out this year. Just to kind of you keep pushing for maybe a song a month, and that's kind of pushing some of the
Yeah.
deadline. I tend to be a little slow on the production end of things. Like my wife says I'm pokey, which is true. I'm not super fast on things, but hopefully 10 or so ish more songs by
That's
the end of the year,
amazing.
kind of the goal.
Yeah. So are you going to be looking to experiment, expand your sound, or kind of go with what you've already been making?
Yeah, more kind of go with what I've been making. I mean, I'm
Nice.
going to focus more on trying to insert more of the rock elements
Oh,
into the
okay.
tracks, and some of that's just from the style that I write. I mean, with a lot of EDM, it's the track is a lot of times the same four chords, whether in the
Sure.
the verse, the pre-chorus, the chorus, the drop, the breakdown. It's always do the same four chords, and obviously nothing wrong with that. I just don't write that way, and
Okay.
I know a lot of rock music, not necessarily that way either. So just trying to work on bringing some more of those influences in, little bits at a time. So it's not just, one big, what did you do kind of thing.
Of course, of course.
Slowly working that in.
Nice. So I want to hear a little bit more about your process and how you work on songs. So sort of a two-part question. Do you work on songs one at a time or in batches?
Uh, it varies.
Hmm.
Normally it's kind of in batches, and
Okay.
some of that is just from my self-diagnosed ADD, because I get bored with a song, which sometimes happens even in the same. I mean, I'm working on it for a couple hours and feel like, all right, I'm bored with this now. What else can I do? So I'll pull another song up. So usually, in the course of a week, I'm typically working on 3 to 4 songs during that week, and
Okay.
a lot of it's just jumping around. So, which as my wife tells me, I really need to work on the organization space in my head because it's pretty jumbled up there.
It's all right. And then so more on the process side of things, how do you start? Does it start with like a piano melody, or does it start with a guitar riff? Or does it start anywhere that you want it to?
Yeah, it is almost always started on the piano.
Okay.
Uh, the Occasionally I'll start on guitar, but it's just I tend to gravitate more towards the piano since that's just on
Sure.
me. So I usually start there with a coming up with a chord progression that I like, and then I kind of go with the melody. And 9 times out of 10, it's almost always writing the chorus first
Okay.
uh, to get that melody and get the chorus lyrics in, and then I'll kind of work backwards on the verses. So like I'm much stronger writing choruses than I am writing verses. So
Mhm.
I almost always start there just for for confidence, and then just
Sure.
work faster that way. So
Yeah, you got to go where you're comfortable. You don't want to, get too outside your comfort zone because then you just jumbled up and you don't know what you're
yeah,
doing. So I get that.
at this
Uh,
point too, it's mostly habit more than anything else. You just
right, right.
what I do.
So I'd love to hear about some of your musical inspirations. Are you trying to not necessarily model your sound after them, but do you take inspiration and try to put your own spin on it?
Yeah, a lot of my inspiration, when I first got into the EDM scene, was more like from some of the like Marshmello, Dead Mouse,
Yeah.
Millennium, those
Hmm.
artists there. Um, but really, most of it is more my rock influence. Like
Yeah.
I was touring with some rock bands before I kind of got into the EDM scene. So, but a lot of that draws from, like I say, from like 3 Days Grace or
Oh,
uh,
okay.
Black Veil Brides, or even like I say like Bon Jovi, Warrant, Motley Crue, like some of those
Yeah, yeah,
80s.
yeah.
And so when I need inspiration, when I feel like I need just to kind of reflect, that's the music that I go to. Just some of the rock ballads, or some of the harder rock, and it kind of feels like it gets me in my headspace. And like all my vocal warm ups are usually kind of rock songs, and um, it's just where for whatever reason that's my jam, if you will. So um, a lot of my inspiration does come from there more so than some of the EDM artists. So um, my music kind of tends to gravitate that way. But being a one man, I'm not really much of a rocker. Being a piano player, you're not kind of a rocker, playing piano. That's not
Sure.
the cool thing to do as doing rock music. So but yeah, that's kind of where my inspirations
All
mostly
right.
come from.
Was there a specific album in your life that sort of inspired you to take this path as a musician? Something that you heard either as a child or a young adult or wherever it may have been in your life that you were like, I love this so much. I want to emulate this in some way and I want to learn how to make my own.
Yeah, I think definitely. Well, that would be two. Um, I mean the Bon Jovi "Slippery When Wet" record. Um,
Okay.
I realized that's pretty old whenever that came out. That was a huge. I had a copy of that as a kid, and I don't even know how. Because my parents were very strict on, oddly strict on certain styles of music and not others. But I wasn't allowed to listen to that.
Okay.
But I had a cassette tape of it. No, the CD. I had a CD of it, and I'd sneak around and listen to that.
Yeah.
But I guess
Just
probably
makes
the
you want to
one that
listen to it more when your
exactly.
parents say no.
And yeah, it was like I couldn't listen to that, but I had an old 45 of Michael Jackson's Thriller album.
Okay.
And I had, when I was younger, I had this little record, like the suitcase record player, and I just wore that record out. And
Yeah.
my parents were fine with that one, but my mom would just tell me stories when I was younger. She would take me to like Walmart, kind of department stores, and
Hmm.
she'd be checking out. I'd go into the restroom there, like at Walmart, and just be like singing Thriller top of my lungs in the restroom.
Awesome.
And so that's kind of like how my
That's where it
childhood.
all started. Bathroom
Exactly.
at Walmart. I
Walmart,
love that.
restroom at Walmart, where it all began.
Shout out to Walmart for starting your career. That's great, actually. I love that. So now that you've decided to take this path as a musician and are, actively making new music, what is something that you enjoy the most about being an artist and a creative as a whole?
I guess more specifically with Demons, it was the first. Like I said, you had a few releases prior to that, and
Hmm.
they were collaborations with other artists, other vocalists. But Demons is the first one that I had to where I wrote the lyrics were all mine. I wrote all the lyrics. I did all the
Sure.
vocals for it. So just um, in this case, the freedom to take take the song where I wanted to take it.
Okay.
Um, so just to kind of be able to express myself the way that I wanted to. So in this
Right.
one, they were fine as well, but I didn't really have a whole lot of say so in the vocals, in the lyric production. And with this one, the label that I released it on, they were pretty well with hey, just do whatever you want, and then we'll be happy with the result. And so just to be able to have that expressive freedom was a huge plus. And so we were, be able to do that moving forward. And even though it takes a little longer for me, but just to, they had that expression.
Very cool. And so what do you feel that your music says about you as a person? Because you could have chosen any genre, you could have chosen any theme, but you went with
Yeah.
this. And does it represent you as a person?
I think it does. And I think for a lot of especially like lyrically speaking, which is one of the reasons I wanted to have that lyric control in this one is, a lot of my lyrics tend to be like from one point of view, somewhat melancholy. I think just being a piano player, you have that melancholiness. I think it's just a requirement to play piano. So you have to be a little
I
melancholy.
suppose.
But I try to work on with somewhat of a positive, uplifting spin, on things, in that it's a crazy world out there. So
That's for sure.
it's a lot, for all over. So it's a lot of kind of things going on. So just being able to hopefully it's kind of offer a little bit of hope, or just let people know that that you're not alone. There's a lot of stuff you're going through, a lot of mess out there, but there's always help. You just you don't have to do it by yourself. So
totally
trying to be that a lot of darkness out there, so just trying to push a little bit of light to that. So
you're doing it.
Honestly, I forgot what your question was, so
okay. You answered it well enough, I promise. So
it's an ADD again, so
that's fine. So considering again that there were 3 years between releases, I don't doubt that there was other music that you were working on between then and now. But why did you choose to put forward this single as opposed to the other ones that I'm sure that you've made?
Yeah, this one, I felt this one being the first one, first of all, the message, again, it's just it's just a rough time out there, and this felt like it's almost like that song shows itself in that.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. When I'm working on my batch, this one I just kind of just gravitated more towards.
Yeah.
This kind of came a little easier. I just felt like it wanted to be worked on, and more so than the other one. So, it's kind of weird to say that it chose itself, but it really feels like it kind of that it did. I think I was working on a different song when the lyrics for this one's kind of came up for me, and things kind of fell together after that. So it pretty much told me it wanted to be released first. So, who am I to say no? So.
Exactly. It makes it a lot easier on you. Instead of you having to cycle through and pick and go and back. And no, you know what? The other songs are going to see a release, but I'm happy that this one, came first.
Exactly. Right.
So given all the inspirations that you listed and all the people that, inspired you as a musician, if you had to pick one of them as a dream collaboration, they could be a producer, they could feature on a verse, they could lend themselves to the instrumentation. Do you have someone in mind who you'd like to add on for a song?
A dream collaboration.
No strings attached, dead or alive, doesn't matter.
I think I had to do a dream collaboration, probably it would be the vocalist Lev. I love her vocals, and she has such a rock vibe. But like lyrically, she is just an absolute master.
Okay.
So, and she's done a lot of EDM stuff as well, but a lot of rock things also. But I think just be able to work with her as a vocalist, would make me a better vocalist. I'm probably very, she's been doing it a lot of than I have, but that's sort of my goal. I guess is to have her on. Let's collaborate on one of my tracks. So she's probably near the top of my dream list.
Very cool. Very cool. And so with this I guess year-long plan, or I guess we'll say 8-month plan till the end of the year, with you releasing more of your music and a proposed 10 to 12,
Mhm.
Is there a chance that we could see any sort of like mini tour or live set coming from you? I feel that your music would translate very well in sort of like an alternative club scene. Um,
Right.
is that in the books, or is it something that you even like to do?
That's a good question. Definitely would be. I think some of the pandemic obviously has hit
Yeah,
things really hard
obviously.
with the touring scene, and now that things are starting to get back into the swing of things,
Right.
I would love to be able to get out in 2021. I don't know how feasible that is based upon just realistically where I am on the totem pole in regards to other EDM artists.
Of course.
I think that once the tours start back up and the festivals hit back up again, that these promoters and things are going to want to bring in the bigger artists
Yeah,
to get that revenue stream flowing again.
of
So
course.
so I mean, it's possible that I'm hoping that I can hit a few shows before the end of the year. But realistically, it's probably going to be more looking towards 2022 to kind
Yeah,
of get out there and get going. I definitely want to do that and
of
kind of get
course.
back to my um, back to my touring days.
Right.
I do kind of like being out there on stage and kind of doing my thing there. But probably 2022, but
That's cool.
can't roll out 2021. I'm not going to turn anyone down, but
Yeah, there's nothing
realistic.
wrong with that. You know, I feel that there is such an urge for people to go out and do things that, yes, I do feel that, obviously they're going to be looking to book as many high priority artists as
Mhm.
possible to bring in the people, but the people want to go out. And it's almost not
Yeah,
even about who's playing, whether than an event is happening. And so
yeah,
promoters all over the world at this point are not scrambling, but they're just trying to fill up any available spot
that's true.
instead of
Yeah,
instead of the normal, Thursday night to Saturday night. I feel that, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are going to have their time of the day where people are just going out to go out because they can.
well,
And
that's true.
so
Yeah,
and so we'll see. I could
everyone.
be
Yeah,
wrong, but I feel like even what I'm just seeing with tours being planned so far out, like even some venues are doing like matinee shows. And while it might
yeah,
not be the night spot, hey, you know what? It'll give you the experience to do it at
yeah.
4 or 5 and still bring in people and
Oh yeah, a spot's a spot. Yeah.
a
So
spot's a spot. And yeah. All right. So I've only got a few more questions for you at this point. But I want to know, you've already listed kind of what's going on for the rest of the year in terms of your musical output. But I want to
mhm.
know, for you as a person, are there any non-musical goals that you've set for yourself for the rest of 2021?
Non-musical goals.
Yeah, basically, how are you going to work on yourself as a person in addition to, making music?
Sure. Well, I love to say that I have hobbies, but really, my days are spent here in the studio.
That's all right.
So, no, I the working on um, racing in my first half marathon. So I guess that's something.
Very cool. Okay.
So you
That's huge. What are you talking about? That's massive. That's not a small thing.
yeah, it's working on that. So
Cool.
um, that's really it. Working on um, like one of the goals I think that my wife and I have, and is to buy a farm, kind of turn it into a rescue farm. So
Awesome.
we have 3 rescue dogs now, so
Oh, nice.
them. But yeah, just kind of working on fixing things in the house and getting that in order to sell because it's a pretty good market for that now. So
Sure.
working on hopefully by the end of the year, having the farm hopefully by the end of the year, to do that. So
Very cool.
kind of a fun thing. So
Nice.
between those 2 things and just working on a ridiculous amount of music, that
Is
takes up a lot of time.
You sound busy regardless, so it's all good. It doesn't need to be this long-winded answer. As far as like personal listening, are there any modern day artists that you're listening to, or any recent albums that have come out that have kind of piqued your interest?
Um, recent albums. I'm trying to think. I mean, I knew the I did enjoy the um recent Taylor Swift albums, some songs on there that
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
a lot of the stripped downs, especially like Exile and
Sure.
um some of the stripped
quite
down.
the year.
Exactly. Really enjoyed some of those. And
Yeah.
I'm my guilty pleasures for that I do enjoy pop music, and I'm trying to think specifically. I'm trying to go through my Spotify
Sure.
playlist in my head to kind of see what's out there. A lot of new music coming out from Millennium, and a lot of San Holo stuff. Like
Right. Oh, I like him. Yeah.
the Baby You Okay is
Mhm.
one, kind of like that one, vibing on it. So but I'm trying to think. I
There's
can't get
too
more
much
specific.
music out there.
Spotify playlist, but I
It's
just cannot think of
overwhelming.
a single
It's
thing on it.
overwhelming.
It's like I know there's another songs. Just can't think of any.
It's all good. All right. So my last question for you here is something that I like to sort of wrap it up with every artist that I get to speak to is, so for the person that's going to discover you from this, what is a message that you would like to pass off to them as they listen to your music for the first time?
I think getting us back to the goal of this being that you're not alone. Whatever it is that you're kind of
Yes.
going through, that there's always hope. There's always help. No matter how dark things feel, there's always a light,
Mhm.
waiting for you there. So just hopefulness is kind of where I gravitate my lyrics towards, and just overall just to feel that no matter how deep your hole is, there's still always someone there with you.
Right.
Never gonna tackle it alone. So
You're right. I love it. I love it. You've convinced me. I'll be listening and I'll be following along. For everyone else out there, LightCount, check them out. Demons is out. Stream it, listen to it, and follow along. I cannot thank you enough for taking the time out of your day and giving these thoughtful answers. And I
I
sincerely look
appreciate it.
forward to listening as more comes out.
Well, hopefully we'll stick on that timetable and
No
be less than
rush to
3 years
you. I
before the
know it
next one.
takes time. It takes time. So
If I beat 35 months, I'm doing better than the last one. So no
very,
pressure.
very true. Very true. I have a good feeling that more will come though. The motivation seems there.
It is indeed.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much again. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, you as well. Have a good
All
one.
right. See ya. Bye
Bye.
bye.